So you want to ski something steep, eh?
Oh, yeah,
But
dude.
you don't know where to start. Extreme terrain is super fun, but it has to be approached the right way. Going from green to extreme sounds like a great hook for YouTube, but the honest truth is you need to have foundations dialed. It's very rare someone's gonna go from a green to skiing terrain like that. Okay, big extreme terrain is dangerous. It can very quickly become deadly. And the number one thing is before you venture into it, you need to have your foundations dialed. You need to be a confident, expert skier. You need to be able to ski all terrain with relative speed, control, be able to stop and be able to climb on your skis, out of your skis, to get into situations, out of situations. So number one, you've got to have the foundations dialed. Number two, just because you think you have the foundations dialed doesn't mean you actually have the foundations dialed. You have to be honest with yourself, okay? Give yourself an ego check. Being honest with yourself about your ski ability is the only way you can safely adventure into new terrain, and also is the only way you're ever going to improve. Dangerous situations and injuries happen when people push into terrain too quickly that isn't at their level. Of course you have to push yourself, you have to feel fear, you have to go beyond your comfort zone, but that can all be done within a range of your skill level. You got to dial the notch up just a little bit at a time. So be honest, check your ego. And if you can't figure that out yourself, what your skill level is, ask a friend, ask an instructor, ask someone who's experienced on the mountain to watch you ski and tell you which runs you might be able to do. Progression is everything. You can't go 0 to 100, okay? You can't go from skiing your first blue run to deciding you can ski the full face at Whistler. It doesn't work like that. The trick to easing your way into extreme terrain is to dial the notch up bit by bit. Choose runs that just challenge yourself a little more than the last one you did, and keep dialing it up bit by bit without progressing too quickly. Fatigue. Injuries happen when you're tired and skiing sloppy, so make sure if you're pushing your limits as a skier, you're not doing it when you're fatigued or tired, okay? Make sure you're choosing a time of the day after you're warmed up, you've had a couple hard runs under your belt, and then you can push, you know, the envelope of runs that you've tried. But by doing something fatigued, you're putting yourself at risk. So never ski new aggressive terrain while you're fatigued. It's not gonna do you any favors. Embrace fear, don't be embarrassed by it. It's actually a good thing to be afraid. It's your body keeping you safe.
We're going up here? What the f?
But don't let fear stop you from trying something that's within your ability to try. The hardest part of skiing steeper terrain is always that first turn and knowing you can do it. Fear is absolutely something that still happens to me. My heart will get going before steep runs or aggressive runs. And you know, for us adrenaline junkies, we quite like pushing past that feeling of fear, but there's a difference between feeling fear and conquering a fear that you were able to conquer and making a bad decision. On steeper terrain, fear will make you be backseat, less athletic, and if you have speed through a turn in the backseat, you're definitely gonna be at risk of popping out through the turn or being backseat. When a run has really, really good conditions, it'll ski so much differently than if the conditions are bad. And sometimes bad conditions can take a run from fun to unsafe. And if the conditions are bad, then don't be afraid to back off. You never have to feel bad about backing out of a line. If the conditions seem icy, if you have a bad feeling, never feel ashamed about backing off. I back off from runs all the time. And you know, if you want to ski for a long time, you've got to practice risk management as much as you can. And backing off is nothing to be ashamed of. You want 100% certainty that you're gonna crush that line. Always scope your line. If you're skiing something new that you've never skied before, If you can't see it, don't ski it, okay? You're gonna wanna scope it for a bunch of different angles. You're gonna wanna see it from the top, from the bottom, from the sides. Make sure there's no major hazards in the middle that you have to worry about. If you don't see it, don't ski it. If you're at a really far distance, one of my tricks is pull that handy iPhone out of your pocket. We all got sick telephoto lenses. Zoom in on the line and make sure you got good eyes on it. If you don't see it, don't ski it, especially if it's a new extreme line. Also, make sure there aren't any cliffs or exposure or hazards in the line. If it's your first time skiing something really steep, you want to make sure you've got an open fan of snow beneath you, right? An open area where if you fall, no big deal, you're gonna slide. But you would not want to fall above cliffs or above exposure, because that's gonna hurt you a lot. You know, you don't want to head through a tumble dryer of rocks. That's why they call them no fall zones. Another great thing that you can do on the chairlift is to visualize the run you're gonna ski down. Visualization. So when I'm on the chair, I'm scoping the lines and I'm thinking about how I'm gonna ski the line, where I'm gonna turn, where I could stop, would I be able to climb out, where could I exit, where can I ditch speed, where does the snow look the best, right? I'm visualizing and making a plan for how I'm gonna ski it so I can execute it when I'm on the top of the line. And that'll stop a lot of that fear and discomfort, is having that plan and knowing in your mind that you can do it. You've been honest with yourself. You know you're ready to dip your toes into something steeper. You've scoped the line, you've stared at it, you've made a plan, you know how you're gonna ski it. You know that there's no exposure for you to fall off. It's seeming like it's a safe, steep option for you to ski. You're rearing to go, you're feeling a little nervous, and you're heading up to the top of the line. What do you do now? Well, truly the best way to get into steep terrain is to follow someone who's a better skier, be that an instructor, a guide, or a friend, and have them ski you down, right? You follow their turn shape. They can help you ski down, and they can help reduce a lot of that initial fear when you're trying steep terrain for your first time. But it might not be the case that you have a friend to follow or an instructor or a guide to follow, so you might have to go it alone. So we'll get to the top of Spanky's ladder here, and I'll give you some of my best ski tips now when you're attacking steep terrain for the first time. One tip that I cannot recommend enough before you ski any extreme terrain is to sip a little bit of liquid courage. It has been proven to improve your steep skiing ability by 4-5x. So if you've never seen it, it was designed for steep skiing. The more you burn ass, the better you'll ski the steeps. I-35 with the top down, quick to tell a hater they should get like me. It also never hurts to tap your poles twice. The more taps, the better, or the more cornice smacks, the better. The first turn is always going to be the hardest. I apologize for the noise of the crunch here, but it's what we're working with today, and you might not be able to hear me. I might have to do voiceover while I'm skiing. So when you've conquered that fear, focus on being athletic, centered, letting that weight go downhill, and committing to that first turn. Get on that edge, right? And once you've made the first turn, the other turns come a lot easier. So once you've got that first turn in the bag, your other turns are gonna come way easier. Much nicer. As you make your way down the mountain, don't be backseat, be athletic. When you ski down the mountain, being backseat sometimes is helpful for powder and can be used, but on steep terrain, being backseat will put your weight in your back. You won't be able to use your edges on the run, and when you're trying to take a turn and get on your edges, you won't be able to get them around fast enough, and you'll get bucked and you can fall. So staying centered on your skis is key, staying athletic. Now, let's say you're up here and you're completely terrified. You made a mistake, but because you scoped the line and you know it's not too exposed, you can always either sidestep out, back up and out, or you can just side slip down. So once again, if you're feeling unsafe, you can sidestep up or you can side slip down. There's no shame in side slipping to escape a run one time. It probably means you made a huge mistake picking a run for your skill level and need to be more honest with yourself about where you're at. But always make sure if you're feeling extremely fearful and uncomfortable, get yourself out safely. But before you side slip, you should be a confident turner and just use big turns across the mountain and take your time, you know? Take it turn by turn, kind of like Mother Alpine does. She talks one turn here, next turn here, one turn here. So that's Mother Alpine executing her plan as she goes down the mountain. Now there's a few different turn types that you can use that are helpful on steep terrain. There's what's called a step turn. It might be kind of hard to show right now, I'll try. When you're starting out, you're probably skiing across the mountain, going uphill, getting yourself solid. Pole planting really helps. Planting. Making your next turn. Going across the hill, right? But as you start to want to make tighter turns, there's two types of turns. One is a step turn. So when you plant, what you're kind of doing is you're getting comfortable letting yourself go downhill, and this foot is kind of stepping, right? It's kind of weird to imagine. You got to be moving, but this leg is gonna step when I turn. Watch my feet. I slide a bit, I step, and I go around, right? Once again, get some momentum, I step around. That's a step turn, it's not a carving turn. The other turn when something's really steep is a jump turn. You can practice these on blue runs. You plant and you hop. You plant and you hop. You plant and you hop. And there's variations of jump turns depending on the snow. You can do it so your hips stay down. So as you get more comfortable, you can start playing with those different turn types. I find that step turn is pretty helpful for someone getting into steep terrain, but the biggest obstacle to get over is truly that feeling of stomach drop, that fear of letting yourself go downhill and trusting that you'll make the turn and get on your edge. And the more you do it, the more confidence you get and the more flow that you'll get going down the mountain. Well, we found a little bit of corn on that one. Odds are I've been using a lot of B-roll for this video because the sound of the snow is just too miserable to hear my voice today. Congratulations. You might have just followed this, linked all those tips together and skied the steepest run of your life safely. My final tip, once you start getting the flow down, you're feeling more comfortable, begin to integrate different vocal expressions as you go down. It helps with steep skiing. My preference is like a, yeah, baby. Oh yeah, yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. I can't say it unless I'm skiing. It's weird. If I try and mock myself, I can't do it, but you get what I mean. Oh yeah, dude. Huh. Yeah, buddy. Add in a couple vocal expressions while you're going down, and you'll be dialing in and dusting steep terrain like no one else on the mountain. Hopefully you found those introductory tips pretty helpful for learning how to venture into steeper and more extreme terrain. If there's anything I missed, let me know in the comments. And the last thing I really want to say is please, please be careful and progress safely. All of the terrain that you see me ski is no joke. And just because you saw it on a YouTube video or you saw it POV, that doesn't mean that you can ski it. Spot it with your own eyes. POV fish eyes things, makes things look way less steep than they actually are. Your eyes and your stomach need to be on top or below a line to decide whether or not you can handle it. Please make sure you progress at a pace that is safe and work your way into steeper terrain. It's so much fun to ski steep and exciting terrain, but I want to make sure everyone's doing it in the safest way possible. I hope you found this video super helpful. Let me know in the comments if there's any tips that I missed, and also let me know the steepest run that you skied this year, because I'm stoked for you. I'm so stoked when I hear a lot of you are progressing, whether that's doing your first blue run or doing your first double backflip, which I couldn't even imagine doing. I love hearing about all of the accomplishments that you had throughout the ski season. It really does get me stoked. So stay safe out there as you're progressing onto steeper terrain, and stay spicy.